Well, thank you so much, Michelle, and thank you for the apron. I'll get right on that, okay? At this time, I'd like to recognize students who have set themselves apart and during their time at Escoffier. They're identified by the little cords that are around their neck. And so at this time, I would like for all the students who are honors graduates and exemplary attendance candidates to please rise. Please be seated. These students have shown that they have what it takes. It's part of work ethic. It's part of being humble. It's showing up every day, and it's doing the best that you can do every day. So please keep those traits together with yourself as you go along in your career. At this time, I'd like to recognize some of the most gifted, caring, and passionate educators that I've ever been associated with. I'd like to introduce to you right now and recognize the chef instructors of the Auguste Escoffier School of Culinary Arts. Please stand. Now, I'd like to welcome up to the podium Chef Pavla Van Bibber.
Good morning. Honored guests, students, and family members. Good morning. Let me introduce myself. I am Chef Pavla, one of the pastries instructors here at the school in Austin, Texas. How exciting is it today? It's graduation day. How exciting is that? All your hard work and your dedication, we, the Escoffier School, have been a part of your journey. Our fabulous and knowledgeable instructors and the front of the house have been mentors and leaders to put you on the road to success. And now it is up to you to follow your dreams and empower the world. My thoughts as a pastry instructor, you know I have to say something about that. Baking is a metaphor for a leavener. It is, one must find and follow a recipe for happiness by adding equal measurements of reliable ingredients. Mix innovative sight to create a baked good that is satisfying, sweet, and full of adventure. I am here privileged and honored to introduce a pastry student, Melanie Lindsay, as our pastry speaker, a young lady with so much to offer the world of baking, always taking the extra mile, giving back to the community. We would say farm to table, as our school is known for. Raises chickens back home, and hence the school had extra eggs. Melanie lives in Houston, leaves her family for the week, and comes and goes home on weekends. I applaud and support and the dedication from her family, her husband Curtis, and her two sons, Justin and Noble. They have never been far away. I know how so very proud of her they are, of her unconditional commitment. She's always had her work done and was ready for the day. She inspired other students with her attitude and always positive, and her yen for knowledge. I loved her asking so many questions. Her ability to use key ingredients to follow a recipe with a creative approach or paint by numbers to produce a signature masterpiece, a confectionery delight, a Picasso. The world is waiting for you, Melanie. How exciting. Enjoy the ride. Well done. Very well deserving, a fabulous individual. Again, I want to thank you all for entrusting us, the Escoffier School of Culinary Arts, to make it happen. Now, let's give Melanie Lindsay a round of applause. They said I was going to cry, and I didn't.
Okay, so for the record, she did lie to me. She said she wouldn't make me cry. Good morning. So all of us came to Escoffier for slightly different reasons and a variety of backgrounds and vastly different goals. Our expectations of what our experience would be like are as individual as we are. One of the things we have in common, though, is that we all had people who sacrificed for us to have this adventure. 3 people in particular who sacrificed for me to come to Escoffier was my husband, Curtis, and my sons, Justin and Noble. Justin, who is also sacrificing because he is FaceTiming me from Australia, where he's in college. It's 3 o'clock in the morning tomorrow morning there. He just said hi. I'm eternally grateful for the amazing men in my life. They are all goal seekers. They all believe in going after goals, even if it takes personal sacrifice. They supported me every step of this adventure and pushed me to make it happen. Along with them, I had the support of my parents and some cherished friends who were in constant encouragement to me. 4 of my friends, Ellen, Tony, Michelle, and Kathy, they were always there. And like Chef said, I traveled back and forth from Houston to Austin several days a week, and then in between I stayed at a local bed and breakfast. And along the way of any adventure, new friends come along to support you and encourage you. And Bill and Sean opened up their B&B to me as a long-term guest and sacrificially devoured every pastry that I came home with. I left with a very full heart, and Bill left about a size or 2 bigger. So, in addition to our immediate family, I really think that we can attribute the greatest part of our success to our chef instructors. I was totally surprised and overwhelmed by the support and nurturing that I received and our whole class received as our experience here. Chef Tammy was constantly encouraging us in person and by text and on our grade book, and it wasn't in generality. She was also very specific about things that we made individually and commented on them. And I mean, you might have a paragraph on your grade book of the things that she was complimenting you about. That's a gift, to not just say, great job, but to actually pick out the things you did that day. Chef Jackie was the calm in the storm. You couldn't ruffle her. You couldn't catch her off guard. She's just a rock, and no matter how dark your bread got, she was like, man, you really rolled that out nice. You did great. So that kind of encouragement is invaluable, and I know you guys experienced that with her too. Chef Pavla had a special connection with our class. We were tiny. We started with 15 and graduated with 6. But every one of us were driven to not take any shortcuts. We wanted to make every recipe. We didn't want it to be cut short just because of our size. And Chef Pavla made sure that we did everything that that was assigned for the day. We broke it up and did it. And she knew we could do it. That was what our class was geared for. And everyone jumped in and took care of it. Sorry. So, although the common thread between us as students is that we came to Escoffier to study culinary arts, that wasn't exactly the main goal of Escoffier and the chef instructors. As with any educational institution or experience, the main goal of your instructors is to teach you to be a learner, because being a learner is far more valuable than any title that you can attain. Being a learner ensures that you indeed have a future worth pursuing. A learner is never obsolete, never overqualified or underqualified. A learner works harder than they think they should have to because they see the value of the education that they're receiving and the future that it will provide for them. A learner is a company's best asset, and nobody knows that more than the one that owns the company. And now that we've completed our classwork and our externships, we're looking forward to what the future holds. And it's understandable that we would kind of sit back and begin to evaluate what we could possibly earn in our prospective fields. But as someone that's been married to a successful self-employed businessman for the best years of my life, I can give you some insight into this. You will never be paid what you are worth. You should never confuse your worth with your paycheck. You should never evaluate yourself by a dollar amount. If you could sit across from your employer and have a real candid conversation, there's something that they would want you to understand. There's a portion of your worth that must stay in the company in order for that company to stay in business and provide you with employment. If every employee was paid what they were worth, the company would be completely drained of its assets and be forced to close the doors. That's why your paycheck is called a fair wage and not a what you're worth wage. Your worth is immensely greater and can never be measured by any dollar amount. In closing, I'd like to share a story I heard recently about a lady that was traveling through an airport. She decided to get on that moving walkway for the first time. So she drug her luggage onto the conveyor and started down. And when she got to the end, and without realizing what she was doing, she stepped off and she just froze. And to the astonishment and surprise of the passengers behind her that had nowhere to go, the result was an enormous dog pile of people and luggage and purses that just kept growing over the next few minutes. So the moral of that story is, when something comes to an end, don't stop moving. This is true for school, work, relationships, all aspects of your life. Always have something out in front of you that you're walking towards, no matter how small or how daunting. Adventure can be frightening, but stagnation is lethal. So be a learner. Work harder than you have to. Understand you'll never be paid what you're worth. Believe you are worth far more that can never be measured. And when something comes to an end, don't stop.
Thank you so much, Melanie. That is so inspirational. Thank you so much. And next, I would like to introduce to the podium Chef John Hummel.
Good morning. Excuse me. Good morning. Congratulations, you guys. Long road. And I want to thank all of you folks that are here today. Without your support, they wouldn't be sitting in these chairs. So I know I appreciate it. The staff appreciates it. It's my pleasure to introduce to you the culinary arts student speaker for the spring graduation. Although I never had this student in the classroom, I've grown to know and respect him. We have had many conversations about food, cooking, and life. He has respect for the craft and the ingredients, which is huge. He spends his off time practicing and experimenting with technique. He was a leader in the classroom, well liked by faculty and students alike. He is a student ambassador and volunteered his free time at school events. As instructors, we welcome and invite questions. This student's drive and quest for knowledge elevated question asking to an art form. He asked tough questions, thoughtful questions, at times having to tell him, I'm going to have to get back with you. He wasn't afraid to voice his opinion whether he liked something or he didn't like it. He is the type of student that will excel in the industry and also make the industry better when he makes his mark. He has a great work ethic. He's serious about his chosen profession. He has a great sense of humor and a fantastic beard. Please join me in welcoming to the podium Mr. Adrian Bruce.
Thank you. Absolutely. Wow, that was fantastic. Thank you for complimenting my beard. One thing that I really want to say is that whenever Chef John called me and told me that he'd like to for me to give the speech at graduation today, the first question that I asked him was, what do I talk about? So every one of us here came here with a specific goal, just like Melanie said. And whether it was to start your own business or just to become something better, we came here with support, and we didn't know it yet. Sorry. That's one of the greatest things about this industry, is that we have support, and that we can just call on one of our friends or one of our coworkers or even a mentor, somebody that we look forward to speaking to, and they can give us some insight on how to become better. I don't really enjoy the spotlight, so it was very difficult for me to write this speech, but I am very humble and very grateful that I get to speak to all of my classmates and in front of the instructors and honorable guests and friends and family who I haven't had the pleasure of meeting. But I'm going to keep it pretty short and sweet. While I was researching how to give a speech, one of the pieces of advice was to either begin or end with a joke. So I'll just end with a joke. So there's two olives hanging out on a counter. One of the olives falls off, and the one on the counter leans over and says, "Hey, are you okay?" And then the one on the ground says, "Olive." Thank you very much.